I know our readers were stoked
Right.
out there that Mizuno was bringing putters to the U.S. We got so much feedback from
Right.
that. Have you seen that overall as you're going through the PGA Show and people are coming and taking a look at the putters? Are they excited?
It's funny, we started out, we're very timid usually when we you dip your toe in the water of a new category, or a relatively new category for us. So our early forecast was very, very conservative. We had X number we thought we were going to bring in, and they already pre-booked twice what we thought we were going to be able to sell, and we haven't even shipped one yet. So it just shows that there was that pent-up demand for it. So the Mizuno fans obviously have been out there. So this is the M-Craft series. So we actually have 3 different heads and 3 different finishes, all of them using some Mizuno technologies for feel. That's one of the things we're just most known for, is making sure a golf club feels good. I don't think there's another forged putter on the market right now. Traditionally, forged is more expensive. This is a $300 putter, which in the world of putters is really middle of the pack.
Okay.
So forged, because that gives you a great feel, forged out of a 1025 material, which is the same as we use on our MP20 irons, on our muscle backs, on our MMCs, like all the better player irons that people know about. So start with a great process, start with a great material, and then we mill it from there. So if you rub your fingernail across the face, you can feel how aggressive that milling is.
I was going to ask you to explain that.
So the idea behind the milling is it's just minimizing the contact area. So when you minimize contact area, it actually softens the sound of impact too. So the materials processes all those things to make it feel like a Mizuno should. Because that's almost like the number one thing we can't mess up for our fans. Is like Mizuno junkies, the second one feels bad, it's like, what did you do? That's like the most offensive thing for a Mizuno person.
Okay. Now, you're also bringing these putters to the U.S. for the first time since 2007?
I think that's right.
Okay.
You know better than I do. That's probably right. Our last putter venture was with Bet Darby. Ultimately, in the day and age when putters cost so much and golf clubs cost so much in general, the putter designers want to have their own version, and then an OEM version would be like essentially a dumbed down version. So it's like, if I'm going to buy a Bettinardi, I don't want a Mizuno Bettinardi, I want a Bettinardi.
Right. Okay.
So with that being said, we kind of wanted to go away from the range of paying somebody else to design our putters. We have good designers, we have good eyes. I consider myself to have a pretty good eye in terms of the look and feel of everything. Putters too, I'm just as picky on those as I am on some of the irons. So felt like we could design the putter and just bring our technologies to it. And it's funny, we talk about going global with the putters. We're also going global with the woods, which we haven't done before. We've always had a Western world product for US, for Europe, then we've had an Asian product. So Japan, Korea, selling a different product. What that means in terms of like development and resources is we were divided. So we had one team working on this one team working on this one, a number of resources going here, a number of resources going here. We decided to make the moves to be global this year, the ST200. And that's why we have the 200, the 200G, and the 200X. And ultimately, because I know you guys understand the industry and how it works, when you're buying drivers, if you go in with an order that's twice as big to a factory than an order that's half as big, you can get more value for that from that factory. That also means that if we have a head cost we want to hit here, that if we're buying twice as many and head cost comes down, we can shove more technology into it.
Something you don't have to sell is your irons.
Right.
What keeps those so consistently good?
The history of Mizuno irons is a lot of what keeps it good, in that we keep kind of pretty tight handcuffs on what we'll do. The look has to check the box of a Mizuno iron. You look at some of these other booths where each iron each year looks more ridiculous than the last. All of ours look very clean, very simple, very sophisticated. Feel is huge for us. We use the same factories, the same foundry. And on top of that, we use just a lot of engineering behind it. So in terms of how we measure the feel, how we engineer the feel into it with the sound, the material, the processes, the actual geometry of the club, I feel like we know feel. So we get the feel right, we get the look right, and then we're engineers. We're not marketers. Like, you look around and we don't have ads everywhere. We're not on the Golf Channel. We're not on your Sunday coverage of the whatever tournament's going on, because we'd rather use that money to put into the product to make a better product. I think the results speak for themselves. On your testing this year, I think we've swept the irons.
You did, absolutely.
Which, that doesn't happen by accident. That doesn't happen by putting out crummy product and marketing the crap out of it because you guys are looking beyond the marketing. That stuff is thrown out in the testing. So ultimately, we have a great engineering team, and we know what we're trying to do. We have a focus on every product, and think the results kind of speak for themselves.
Mizuno users, athletes, golfers are very loyal to your brand. Do you recognize your own cult following?
I think so, and cult following is probably the exact
the best way to put it, isn't it?
What I like about Mizuno followers is it's almost like it's a little anti-establishment. There's so much of the golf world that's very big on the TaylorMades, the Callaways, the Titleist, the Ping, the Big Five, exactly. If you know Mizuno, you almost feel like you're in on something. You almost feel like it's a
you take
it's
some ownership in it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when people play it, and typically it's been a better player for a long time, even though we sell more game improvement irons and we do better player irons, people feel like if they play Mizuno, that's like a badge of honor. It's like says something about them. It says, I didn't buy into the marketing hype. It says, I went and tested, I did my research. It's all about putting out the right product, and I think we continue to do that, which is why they become so loyal to us.
But how do you compete with the Big Five?
You know, it's funny. It's the world of social media, the world of websites. There's so much information out there that is much more credible than paid information. So, you know, you can only believe so much when somebody was paid X number of dollars to say it. So now that there's places like GolfSpy, places like some of your competitors where you can actually read independent reviews, that has become so much more valuable than what you see on TV, what's on somebody's hat. You know, you look at a lot of players on tour who have another company's hat on their, or name on their hat, and have our clubs in the bag.
Right.
That says something. And if you go back 8-9 years ago, that was invisible to the consumer. All they saw was their hat.
Absolutely.
Now you see what's in the bag post, and people understand what's in. So the fact that they're choosing it, they're seeking us out, it shows that consumers are smart. Like, ultimately, they're going to dig to the truth. So unless we're being honest and delivering the truth, we're going to get exposed. So that's why we always try to do that.
All right, should we have a putting contest?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go for a longer
You make the
one.
rules.